All right, shall we start? Great. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the March 15th, 2023 Caroline Town Board meeting. We'll start the meeting with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We'll begin the meeting with opportunity to address the board and privilege of the floor. And so I have John Morse, first speaker.
Hi, folks. I'd like to open tonight with a quote. Quote, I was more than impressed by the number of signatures delivered to us in the petition, encouraging us to pass the moratorium. Over 650, which is astounding, and by my count, it looked like at least 470 verifiable town residents. In the time that I've been on the town board, there have been a number of hot button issues, but never an expression of will this concerted and broad across the town. So I'm very impressed by that. I'm very inclined to take that expression of interest most seriously. These are the words of Tim Murray at the town board agenda meeting on May 5th, 2020. Some other numbers I'd like to share. The number of people who voted for Kate McKenzie on the town board in 2021, 498. The number of people who voted for Catherine Goldberg in 21, 472. The number of people who voted for Mark Whitmer in 21, 500. The number of people who voted for Mark Whitmer pre-COVID in 2019 was 761. And the number of people who voted for Tim Murray in 2019 was 725. And now, the number of taxpayers and residents of Caroline who have signed this petition asking the town board to continue debate and education until at least January 2024, thereby pushing any possible vote on zoning until January 2024 or later, is 1,227. The residents of this town are using their voices in the most democratic ways possible. We put up signs, attended meetings, written letters. The 5 big in-person meetings over the past year, which includes the 3 listening sessions, the zoning commission info session, and the zoning commission hearing at the fire station a couple weeks ago, resulted in an overwhelming outcry against zoning. In total, approximately 127 residents spoke against zoning to only 14 for it. About 90% of people against it. On top of all that is this petition with over 1,200 signatures in it. You have a responsibility to listen to your constituents. What is being presented here is valid, and if you choose to ignore this petition and take advantage of obscure New York state laws that have no direct mechanism for a referendum on zoning, then that is most certainly not a democratic approach and will be a slap in the face to residents and taxpayers of this town. It's time now for the members of the Caroline Town Board to listen to the members of the community. It's time to show that you can do what is right. I hereby present this petition to the town of Caroline on behalf of all of the people who signed it and who want their voices to be counted. We hope that once again, like 2020, you'll be very impressed.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that that gets put into wherever it needs to get ready.
Thank you, John.
Put it in a minute.
Tony Van Kemp.
I too would like to speak to the numbers. Of the 769 signatures on the moratorium petition, the majority of them are from people who do not reside or pay taxes in the township of Caroline. This graphic depicts the numbers from various townships. There were 36 people who signed the petition twice, so I have counted each of them only once, leaving approximately 370 valid signatures. Granted, I did not have time or information to verify if I inadvertently eliminated someone who might be a landowner and taxpayer. Next, I would like to address the eligible voter population of Caroline with statistics taken from the U.S. Census Bureau. 23.3% of our population are actually minors, which leaves approximately 2,583 people in the eligible age range. Not every eligible voter is registered, but I will leave it on the generous side. As you can see from this chart, nearly half of the residents in the eligible voter range signed the zoning petition, which leads me to my comparison chart. This is a simple visual representation of the 1,228 signatures from the voters and taxpayers in the town of Caroline on the zoning petition compared to the 370 on the moratorium petitions. This is by far the largest petition the town of Caroline has ever had, and the directive is simple: refrain from voting on zoning until January of 2024. I unwittingly signed the moratorium petition, mostly because I have friends who live near the proposed Dollar General site and didn't want it. But as time has gone on and I've listened to my neighbors, I regret ever having put my pen on that paper. Additionally, if I had known at that time that it would lead to the zoning fiasco, I certainly never would have signed it. I am one of 53 people that signed both petitions. I wonder how many others would have signed both if we had spoken with them. I hereby publicly withdraw my signature from the moratorium petition. I feel that the basis this board is using for implementing zoning has been duplicitous. I also filled out the survey on what we wanted in our town. I checked boxes because I like trails and conservation. However, nowhere under that survey did it state that it would be used as grounds to force zoning, just as the moratorium petition made no mention of it. The lack of transparency in this town board's actions and their unfounded justifications for them cannot continue to go unchecked. The town needs to let the voters decide. The people have been speaking but not heard. It is only fair that we get to make our voices heard through the election booth.
Bruce Murray.
I come for the town board and people of Caroline. This is indeed not a very good thing for me to bring up, but I feel I am compelled to do so. As town board members, you were voted in by the public for people of Caroline. You are now the holders of the public's trust. About 2 years ago, I was at the first zoning commission meeting. At the beginning of that meeting, Tim Murray said that he wanted the zoning commission to know and remember that a very important and the best petition that has ever been handed in, the town board has handed in. They had 800 signatures of residents of Caroline who were against the Dollar General. I knew that this was wrong, and I said that. A lot of the signatures were not Caroline residents. Tim said some were interested parties which had moved away. I said something to Mark about this at the end of the meeting, and he said Tim was right, and I could check it out at the town hall. I said, really, I didn't have to, because I had already went over said petition. This petition was used as part of the basis for the moratorium against commercial development. Anyway, I filed the petition and fact checked signatures, and there were around 769 signatures. After fact checking addresses and names, once I hit 395, more than half of the signatures that were definitely not from the town of Caroline or residents, I stopped. I brought this petition and my figures before the board at the next board meeting and provided this petition was absolutely no good. I asked the board at that time to bring this up to the public and correct the big mistake about the greatest petition ever brought to the town. And that I thought they should correct their misrepresentation. Nothing was ever said, nothing, not once. Since then, I have heard of on many occasions from Mark and Tim that a petition has no merit. I believe that the best petition with legitimate signatures of residents of town of Caroline was just handed in to the town board. I would only hope and see and know of no way that you cannot give this petition in front of you the same way that you so afforded the one against the Dollar General, which was in by no means a legal or legitimate petition. But yet you put so much weight behind it. No matter what side of this subject you're on, right is right. Democracy does not, should not run on lies and untruths. I thank you for your time, and please represent all the people in the town. And can the petition still be signed? Because I would like to sign it.
Thank you, Bruce. Bruno Schiffel.
So, thank you for the opportunity. I don't know if some of you were at the last zoning meeting in Brookendale Fire Department. And I'm repeating a couple things, but one of the things that I just wanted to say was you're public servants and you have a responsibility to serve the public. A servant, by its very nature, is assisting, is helping, is trying to assist other people. And I think that when you look around this town, if you drive around and really look, there are a lot of very, very vulnerable people that live in this town, economically vulnerable. A lot of people who are struggling. And I think one of the things that you have to ask yourself is this zoning plan that's going to be presented to you actually helping those people? Is it really fundamentally helping? And I think the answer is no. I think it's a very clear, definitive. And I'll just give you as an example. I find it ironic that they limit formula business, which Dollar General would fall into it, a formula business, to 3,000 square feet in a very small little geographic area. There's lots of farms, lots of farm buildings that are way bigger than 3,000 square feet. So it's clearly not a question of size. It's really a question of what they're doing there. And basically, what the zoning board is saying is, we don't want that to happen here. That and the moratorium effectively said, we don't want this to happen here. The people that signed that original petition against the Dollar General was, we don't want that to happen here. Now, what is it that they don't want to happen there? They don't want to give people that are economically disadvantaged who typically shop at a Dollar General the opportunity to shop here. That is direct result of that. And my question to you as public servants, why would you do that? I mean, where is your compassion? Why on earth would you take an action that you know you absolutely that's designed to prevent people an opportunity to shop at a place that they can afford? Instead, you're forcing them to drive to another locality and pay more effectively. And I'm saying to you, that is not being a public servant. It is not compassion for your neighbor. And I really think that you need to think long and hard about that and say, what are we doing here? Look around at all the people that are opposed to this. That month after month after month of a significant pushback. And I guess at what point do you say, I get it, I'm going to listen? Thank you.
Thank you, Bruno. Robert Swansboro.
I got a real simple one. I brought up about the code enforcement law. I said it wasn't right. Understand it's legal, but it's not right. This is the same thing. It's legal, but it's not right. We don't want it. Petition says it, and everybody else says it. You can see it driving around. I agree with everybody. We don't need zoning in Carrollton. I deal with zoning every day. I got to tell someone the other day, I'm sorry, you can't put a better set of steps in your house because you have a non-conformity. You gotta go get a variance. This is what it's come down to. All you're doing is making more hardship for everybody else. You pass zone.
Great. Is there anybody else that wants to address the board? Okay.
So, something happened this summer that I'm not sure how this happened. But at the corner of Middow Road and Brookendale Road, there was a house built this summer. That house was started years and years ago, a basement was put in. And it was well drilled. And all of a sudden they found out that that house was in the flood prone area. It was not supposed to have been a house there. Now on your watch, that house was built there this year. So, but my question is, if we have a flood. And you approve a building permit for that house in the flood prone area. Who's responsible if that house gets washed away? Is it the town? Because they approved it, and it should never have been approved. And so things like this can happen. Once you have zoning in, if nobody keeps track of all this stuff that's already in place, what good is it? The Smith farm, their house burnt to the ground because the bridge was too small for fire trucks to go across. And on the other side, it was a seasonal highway. Now, wouldn't you think that they paid fire protection? Wouldn't you think that the town should have worked with the town of Danby to make sure that that seasonal highway was open until the bridge was fixed so fire trucks could get there to those places? They lived down there. Didn't happen. Why? My dad always said the town could have been liable for that house burning down because they paid for fire protection and they didn't have it. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Anybody in Zoom? Just. All right. Thank you, everybody. I acknowledge the petition, and we will be reviewing them and take that into consideration. So,
Mark, I'm sorry, I gotta leave. My husband's ill, but I just
Sure.
wanted to say that for all you people that are pushing this down our throats, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves.
all right. I would like to open the meeting, and I will propose that we move the first item of business forward to speak with Susan about the town hall project. She's here to talk with us, so appreciate that. So welcome, Susan.
Good afternoon, good evening. Hi. So I'm proposing for Historic Ithaca to work on town hall. I know it needs some repair. We've talked about it. You've had an architect paid to look at the building, and we're gonna look at state funding. We're still waiting for the state funding to come out, the actual notification that there's state funding available. I actually talked to someone today who's on the Regional Economic Development Council, not ours, up in Finger Lakes, just in another meeting. The governor hasn't put out those numbers yet and hasn't put out the application. So it would probably be in early May that we'll find out that the money is there. And then we'd apply for it whenever they say to do the deadline is, which would be, I'm guessing, late summer. So the proposal I propose to you is that we have a short committee to talk about the building. I think Hal is in charge of the facilities, correct? Yeah, and we would meet together and discuss Stephen Gibeon's list. I did speak to him. And we can go forward with that and decide what the priorities are on town hall. I guess if you have questions about it, I produced the paperwork for you, public document now that it's in your hands. And we just did this with the city of Ithaca.
Okay.
We were the applicant for the city of Ithaca. They wanted us to be, and we did the Cascadilla boat restoration, which was a large project in the middle of a pandemic. And we brought it in on time, and I wouldn't say we brought it in on budget, but it came out the way it was supposed to, and they spent significant money on it, so,
Great.
yeah. Yeah.
Can we help you by what we see as the priorities?
Yes. That's what I'm asking, yes.
We should try to get that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Cal,
Yeah.
Can you pause just a second?
We can't hear you.
We can't.
we can't hear you.
I see that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, okay, movie, I don't want to keep it here all night. So we can meet together. and
Work so hard on that stuff.
yesterday.
I don't want to give any bit of attention.
We're having.
Everyone, you nod if yes, just whatever she wants to say, but ignore all these people. That's bullshit.
We're not,
Absolute
I said we
bullshit.
would be looking at the, excuse me.
So.
Cal, we can't hear you. So if you can just wait 1 second.
It's really hard.
Hard to hear you.
Remember, there's stuff that you are.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll have a committee on the restoration project. It'll be Susan Holland, Steve Gibeon, Mark Whitmer, and Cal Snow, and we'll go over what our time is.
Yep.
And you by April 15th.
Second.
What do we need by April 15th? Just sort of a game plan?
Yeah, Steve,
All priorities.
here's Steve's list.
Priorities of what needs to be done.
Yeah, I think that would give us the first April meeting to talk with everybody on the board and
Go over things that we could do.
let people know what we're thinking of and
Yep.
get feedback, so.
So we've got 2 weeks to, yeah, we need 1 meeting or 2 weeks.
Probably maybe one. Stephen doesn't have that much time left on this.
Cal, I think, you know, we have the leeway to do it at least by the business meeting. We could give a little bit more time.
Okay.
Because that gives them months to do all of this. It's quite a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah, and then we need to get asked.
Yeah, I think that's, I think the first, what, the 5th is the first April meeting and
Yeah,
then.
that's just.
Well, we'll try to have it, but then we've got some fallback.
Yeah.
Steve's schedule doesn't accommodate.
Yeah, like I said, what about you do? I said, just wait.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sorry I had to bring this up, but it seems like a trivial matter. for
No.
my ears.
No.
Dealing with, that's what I do for a living, so. you know.
Non-trivial. It's not trivial.
Susan, I mean, I wanted to thank you for
Yeah.
presenting us with such a thorough document. It's really flushed out and
Thank you.
it's such a service to the town. Well, historic
Yeah.
to offer to partner with us and shepherd this project, so.
Yep.
So I
think
think
it's
we're
very
all in
reasonable
agreement
and-
that this is
yeah.
really a fantastic offer. Thank you very much for your efforts.
That's what we do. So we'll be talking and then let you pass this or whatever you have to do and we'll go forward.
Yeah, and I guess we'll be in touch with you. I mean, I guess as we're coming up with ideas, you know, it kind of. We might be looking for guidance on, you know, what works for historic preservation and.
I think we've got the ideas right here. It's just, you know, like the first one, gutters or no gutters.
Right.
That's,
You know, it's,
yeah,
you know, there's, I think there's quite a few things here where we just have to make a decision of yes or no.
That Gibson's work.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
and then things like, you know, putting the bell tower back on, well, you know, that's a huge lift.
There was a bell tower.
Yes.
I guess you're right.
Yes.
Restoration.
Yes, beautiful building.
Yes, I remember.
So, but you know, some things we just gotta, yes, we all, let's pursue that, or is there the funding, you know, maybe, yes, if you wanna. If there's funding to do that, then, yeah, let's do it, if there isn't, well, then we'll.
That would be really exciting.
Yeah.
To have that level of preservation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to decide what the match is. I still have to find out from the state what the match is for them. It's a 75-25. So the town would put in some, the state would.
Right.
The rest of it, it's a reimbursable grant. There's all kinds of like caveats and things, but, they kind of guide, they shepherd your preservation of the building, so. And then you want to decide and estimates, who knows what they look like these days. And construction is outrageous. And it's a 5-year grant usually, and I don't know what it would look like at the end if you decided to do something, you know, so we have to kind of look at that, build those contingencies in. So.
Just okay.
Yeah.
5-year grant.
It should be, they were, when I did the last one, they were, so. So we'll talk about that. And then then we can get estimates.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Susan. Great. Okay, now we'll back up to my supervisor's report. Correspondence of note, Nancy Hall from the Brookendale Community Center sent us a letter asking about road safety measures on Valley Road there, at the community center. So I shared that, and so we recognize that it's a county road, and so we want to, talk amongst all of us about what we might advise.
You guys who are outside, I can't hear very well, so if you can we're having a working meeting. Thanks, I appreciate you guys are here, I can't hear. Thanks, Pete.
So anyway, I guess it'd be nice to provide Nancy an informative reply.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking of talking with the highway superintendent and amongst ourselves, because we've been talking about road safety measures. I understand there are different avenues of authority, but I'm sure there are ways to provide feedback and suggestions. So anyway, Mike.
So there used to be, a number of years ago, I helped the little schoolhouse over Turkey Hill Road, it's called Stone Circle School, and then the Waldorf School up in Danby as well, and to get school signs put up there to which just lowers the speed limit 10 miles an hour. They have the signage, and it would be great if the community center, I don't know if it can be counted as a school, but it has kids there all summer. And a lot of kids, and the kids are on the road and people are coming in and out. So I would think it would qualify, but there was a form, as I said, this was years ago, that we got from the county. So I think we could contact the county highway department and see if there's still a form or requests that they put in the school signs, and that would drop that. It drops the speed limit, and it also increases the cost of a speeding ticket, if you get one there.
So I check with Jeff Smith, if you want me to.
Why don't you?
Okay,
Sure.
no, before that, the agenda meetings.
So who's Nick? Do you want to finish your supervisor report, or do you want to discuss this now? I don't want to interrupt your supervisor report. Like, do you want to discuss it now, or do you want
I
to?
thought we want to discuss it.
We can discuss it now. I'm
Okay,
fine.
I just didn't want.
It's fine. I
We
think
should clarify. I don't know, Nick Ensign or Ensign?
yeah, he's
he is the one who was on that email with that Bobby already
Yeah.
sent. So is he the contact or is Jed? I just want to be clear, like, who is our contact there?
I will find out who is the appropriate.
Who is the appropriate?
That's
I will,
Okay.
I will go down, I will go down there.
first check with your county partner.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, and.
Okay, because I sent a message to Nick following this
Right,
change.
yeah.
So, no, I sent a private message to him just saying like, hey, what's our policy? Is that, so Jeff will get it. Okay, Jeff will get it. Okay.
Yep. Okay, so, okay, yeah, just like, you know, I did make a phone call, just as a private citizen, to ask about this, when I was talking to Nancy about it, then I thought really she should be talking with the town board to get behind it, so.
Excuse me, for those of you in the audience, we're trying to have a business meeting and it is really difficult for us to hear each other. So thank you very, very much for respecting our need to have a meeting. We appreciate your joining us, but if you could be attentive to the meeting, it would be helpful.
Thank you. So go
Okay,
ahead.
yeah, no, yeah.
Okay, so.
Sorry, you know, but it's not.
Great. So the next item was the letter from Graham Savio from Cooperative Extension about an application for inclusion in the ag district. And it's whether the town would be supportive or endorse that. I was sort of, I did talk to him at the ag meeting about that, so. And I let him know we certainly, you know, supported that. It seemed like it was consistent with the previous activity at the property, and it's, you know, residential rural, there's a wetland there, and, you know, so all of that seemed fine with us, but anything further would need to come from them, you know, I felt like. So as far as evaluating it, it's not contiguous with the existing district. It's, you know, somewhat close. So I don't know how that, if that matters or what, so. So I think the reason I think they wanted to get a resolution. I think there's a 30-day window each year where residents can apply for their property to be in an ag district. So they were getting up against the deadline for that, and they needed to get a resolution to the legislature by last Tuesday. So that's why we didn't have time to like have a resolution at a meeting or something like that. So
Do you know about this? I don't really understand how it works. I don't understand how this works all that well. So,
I told you everything I know.
okay.
Apparently, there's a 30-day window every year
Okay,
where property owner can apply to have the property included in the ag district. And as far as I understand, and maybe others here can
I mean,
help me out.
it's a helpful, it's like an unusual request in a positive direction, because often what we're doing is looking at the ag district and taking properties out of it.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
is, you know, so this is like, I don't see any reason to not, you know.
Right,
It's
right.
a no brainer.
And I think the main thing it does is basically say agricultural activity is okay here. You know,
Well, it must also protect
it gives
the
additional
owner for
protections.
ag protection.
Yeah, right.
I might be wrong, but like under the right to farm umbrella that we have.
Right.
But I think that requires that you're in an ag
That's
district.
what I think, yeah.
So, you know, it's little protections like that.
I mean, there'd also be a disclosure for adjoining property.
Right.
You know,
So is there-
500 feet, you know, or something, and, but
Is there anything that we need to do or can do, or
I
they're just?
don't think so.
they're just informing
I'll
us?
let you know if I find out otherwise, but yeah, great. So it sounds like, yeah, so.
Yeah.
are the two houses that are going in
Yeah, it's an
North-
interesting,
north of that, or is that their property, or maybe it's none of my business?
I think they split it off, but it is an interesting, I mean, it doesn't matter for now, but like there happens to be a new home being constructed right next to it. So, you know, like how it works with the disclosure,
This is not the new home.
retroact, no, I know it's
No,
not, but I'm saying if you're in an ag district and then you have a disclosure that says, I understand I'm living in
Right.
an ag district.
That's what I was saying.
I don't know what impact it, all, if anything, there is for like that new house, so, but
Right.
it's not our,
The implications.
yeah.
Yep. I don't know either. So, yep. So I think, my response was consistent with what we're all saying, is that we're supportive. If it works for you, it works for us.
Yeah, do we need some, like a formal resolution that says we support the inclusion of this property into the ag district?
If we need one, I'll let you know, but I think it's a done deal. So, the legislature already considered a resolution for this last week, so. As you know, there were public hearings on the preliminary report by the zoning commission on February 22nd and 28th, which was noted tonight. I will note that the land use moratorium that we currently have in place will expire on May 1st. So we need to consider,
What to do?
well, extending that, because the purpose is to put a hold on development while zoning regulations are being put in place. So that's something to consider, that we'll need to consider very soon. TCOG Emergency Services Planning, Joe Millman has been hired by the Tompkins County Department of Emergency Response as the Emergency Services Program Manager. And he's on the job, and we'll be working with a bunch of us to develop an actionable plan for addressing that need across the county. The countywide code enforcement study is underway. In a similar vein, that study is intended to understand ways that code enforcement can be supported across the county, and especially for rural towns like ours, which have limited code enforcement. So that work is underway. I attended the roundtable they had with supervisors and mayors. And we had a good discussion and a lot of common concerns, and I think there'll be some interesting things coming out of that. So that's going to be going on for a number of more months, and I'm anxious to see what kind of solutions they propose. Last week I attended the meeting on the preliminary FEMA flood insurance rate maps that have been being developed over the last almost decade. That was at the Tompkins County Public Library. We sent out a town announcement today. Those maps could be examined digitally at the FEMA website.
So they're available now.
Yep, they're available for inspection. So there'll be a public event later on in the year to take any feedback or concerns and things like that. So
These aren't the final maps, these are preliminary maps, Mark, that then are open for public opinion, is that what your understanding is?
So it's right now going through, so they've been under development for some time. And so over the next a little more than a year or so, the process will unfold to make them official. So yeah, we're in a review period now. Great, and then not on the list here, but I will add that today I attended a brief meeting on the district geothermal project that EGGEO is doing with support from NYSERDA to do a feasibility study for district geothermal in the hamlet of Speedsville. So that's kicking off. So that's exciting. It's very important. Anyway,
Do you know if there was any properties or how many properties in South Carolina were added to that flood?
I haven't studied it enough to see that, so I have to look at that.
I was just told it was 10 of them. I haven't seen it either. So, thank you.
Any other questions?
With the countywide code enforcement, is that for building energy code, zoning code?
It's for all the responsibilities that a code department in any town might undertake.
Okay,
So that raises kind of the question about, you know, could some of those be peeled off for like a countywide specialist or something like that? But yeah, so it could be, you know, stormwater review, that kind of thing. Any of the responsibilities that our code officer does for sure.
Mark, are they also considering shared responsibilities between towns?
Yes, that's one possible thing, and we've done that in the past, and so that's something, you know.
one guy'd be the real expert on this, and maybe somebody from another township would be the real expert on that sort of thing. You mean by,
Well, that's, I think, that's not what you mean, right, Tim? But that is,
I meant the possibility, for example, two towns sharing
okay,
code services, for example, like we've done that in the past, actually, with the town.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I think in the past, like, our code officer used to cover, Kevin McMahon covered Hartford, Richford, and Caroline. Right. You know, I think it would be cool to have a system where, you know, the code officers in adjacent towns could back each other up. And then basically, you know, to fortify. And then the study did do a round table with stakeholders, which are contractors and landlords. So getting perspective of the community that needs the services, so.
this is another question. Do you know of somebody in the county where we might be able to get a large Google map of just the town of Caroline? Because I find myself snooping on Google Earth.
I think
There's
you
a
could
house,
probably-
you know, that
you could probably
driveway that
Google it
I
out.
thought went up to a field now goes up to a house. And I think it would be very instructive for the public to be able to see really in real time what is currently going on in the town. Just a really nice big map that clearly shows the town. Is there somebody in Tompkins County administration, government that might be able to provide something like that for us? And if not, I might be able to get it through the USDA.
Well, I think, I mean, they used to have big printers in county planning office.
Yeah,
Like,
the county GIS has.
They don't do service it anymore. I
They
got the
don't do-
last one.
So we already have it. Jesse has it.
I just spoke to someone in the planning department today, because I got one for Cliff. And she said that next time I go somewhere else, because they're no longer anymore.
So now we can,
But I have the map, I have the file, so we can take it
Huh.
wherever and get a copy, maybe, I don't know what that would cost, but. Cool, so I got that one map from my office.
Yeah. But I mean, it just kind of, well, it just, there's stuff going on where. And it's just really cool. to
Yeah,
see.
that's good.
great.
I'll pursue that a little bit too.
But certainly, I mean, one of the things being considered is, you know, if there's, you know, like fire inspections, we could have a countywide fire safety inspector.
Yeah.
But I guess a lot of times, fire safety inspectors are retired firefighters, so.
They know what to look for, they've got the trained eye.
Yeah.
It's great.
Great, okay. Move on to Town clerk's report.
Oh, me, okay. Mine's easy. I've collected 92% of my total warrant, which is the most since I've been clerk in the few years I've been here. And it's just over 2 weeks remaining. April 1st payments get made directly to the county, and that information's on the back of your tax bills you haven't paid yet. And I did my clerk's report and submitted to Mark on the 7th of March. That's it.
Thank you. Committee updates.
Zoning commission was to have met last night, but because of the weather, it was canceled. I haven't had confirmation, but I believe it'll meet again next Tuesday night. Here, hybrid 7 o'clock.
I think that's the plan. Great, thank you, Tim. Anything else? Don't have to.
I remember I went to the meeting with ARC, whether it was before or after, anyway, I went to, an online meeting with the Appalachian Regional Council they're having, a number of online meetings called the Broadband Boot Camp for rural areas, because ARC has money, so we're in the Tompkins counties in Appalachia, the northernmost section. So we're trying to figure out how to get funding from them to put towards our broadband, so we can have broadband where we don't have broadband right now. So yeah, it was interesting, and it's frustrating to see all the different maps. So there's like the national map, which is not accurate, then there's state map, and then there's the county map, and then when they're saying just get everybody to log on so we can see where they don't have internet, like they don't have internet there. Anyway, so it was
That's to get your internet speed, right?
right. Well, part of it's the internet speed, because the federal data just has the maximum speed. So whatever the company has said is their maximum speed is what they've got down as the speed. So they're trying to fix all that. But anyway, so it's trundling along like a turtle trying to figure this out, but it's going. So that's
Is ARC federal dollars?
ARC is federal dollars for the Appalachian money. So it's a different pot of money than the Connect All New York, which we're also looking at, right? So right, there'll be another meeting for me to go to about that soon. So that's exciting. Actually, I am excited about this and the work with Dryden that we're doing. So and on Safe Streets for All, we're waiting on the contract to come back from an office, with the federal government. So
Great,
and starting to move on that, but it's slow.
thank you.
Ag?
Sure.
All right, I'm so glad we have so many people here, because now we can announce our awesome event. So the Caroline Community Ag Gathering is on Thursday, April 6th at the Brooktondale Community Center from 6 to 9 p.m. We're having a potluck between 6 and 7, followed by the meeting 7 to 9. I'm actually just going to read this announcement that we'll send out, but the objective of this is like the first event of our ag and farmland protection plan that we've been working on. And the whole goal is to learn about what the Caroline Ag Committee is doing with this plan, and also learn from the community about what agricultural activities are happening in the town, like what is the current state of things in Caroline. So if you raise any crops or animals, even just for yourself, if you garden, if you grow any of your own food, if you raise animals for fun or enjoyment, or steward land, forested land, fields, anything, we really want to hear from you and learn what you think about your ag activities and what you might like to see your neighbors do with their ag activities, and how this is all gonna kind of shake out. There is a survey that we're distributing. We can actually, I might just put this in a town announcement, Mark, is that okay? we publish the survey? Yeah.
Of course.
So we'll send out the survey and a town announcement, so anyone who gets that, they can fill that out, that could be done online. If you would like a paper copy of the survey, it's funny, I'm realizing the announcement says if you want a paper survey, email us to get one, but I don't know, like, that probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, so if you want to just notify me that you want a paper copy, or we can have some paper copies at the town hall, you can come in and get a paper copy. If you would like to email and tell us you want a paper copy, that is also fine, but I'm just realizing that there's like, that's kind of funny. So if you would like to stay informed about the Caroline Ag Committee activities, as well as other relevant like food and farming events in Caroline, you can also join the Friends of Caroline Ag listserv. So you would then hear about any other food and farm related things. I think that's it, but we're really excited about the April 6th event, and many people in this room are already working really hard on it, so that's awesome. And it's just super important to kind of know what is happening in Caroline and not just take definitions from the state or the federal government about like what is a farm. Because if we look at that definition of what is a farm, that does not really represent all of what's happening in ag. So, anything you are doing, silviculture, mushrooms, maple syrup, anything, we want to know about it.
And I think maybe they're gone now, but there were some little handouts on the podium there about.
Oh, yeah, the rack cards. Yeah, they're there too. Cool.
So,
Awesome.
great, thank you.
I've got a little bit. I'm looking at some signage for the front of the town hall. It just says court clerk, town clerk, code enforcement, supervisor, library, history room. Because really, when you come into the front of this building, it just kind of, well, where do I go? If you don't know, where do I go? So, looking into that, I haven't got a full back yet for it.
So you're getting a design that we can look at, right?
Yeah. And the court, concerns with document security and just some office fix stuff and refrigeration they're working on. They got some rough plans. So we've got a deadline to meet next month.
Cal, could you say something more about that?
What's the deadline?
I don't remember what it was.
April
We
10th,
had- I think something like that. They need secure cabinets.
We've ordered those, correct?
Yeah, that'll be good.
I will order them whenever.
Yeah, I mean, they
Oh, but they don't-
know.
They haven't.
The money has been allocated.
Right.
And I'm not sure that they've decided that those are the exact ones they want.
We have a
Respect.
resolution about a specific cabinet
That they asked for.
that they asked for.
That the judicial administrator recommended.
Yes, and
Whatever, yeah,
Judge Barr gave us the.
yeah, they need some secure file cabinets for their stuff.
I agree.
The place painted, we gotta kind of clean all this stuff out and rearrange this. Fix up. the court chambers.
So, wouldn't it make sense to order the file cabinets so that we can secure the materials so that then somebody like Richard can come in and do shelving, do whatever needs to be done?
I will give them a nudge to get stuff ordered and on the way.
What's that?
I will nudge them to get the stuff ordered and on the way.
Oh, okay.
Because I can't go order it for them.
They're not ordering.
We're ordering it.
We are ordering it. We are
Yeah,
the,
so,
We are,
I mean, I sent a notice
Yeah.
like after the last meeting and I haven't heard anything, so.
and then I saw some, like these cabinets. This desk and, work table and let's get rid of the old. So.
I'm a little bit concerned that this is not specific. And we thought that we had an agreement to get the cabinets so that we can get the site secure.
Right.
And I think we need to do that before we talk about absolutely anything else. because that can be done immediately, which we would like to do.
I just fail to comprehend this, I really do. You know, I support you 100%, I just don't understand why you're in the middle of this, I mean, we also decided we don't have a court liaison anymore because, so why, can we help you? I mean, I don't mean, to be- this is beyond my comprehension.
So they,
I'm
the
laughing
court's
at our
talking to
question.
Cal because he's building and grounds liaison.
Well. Let us know if you want some help, but like, we have already done, everything is in place. We have specific cabinets, we have a resolution on record, it's in the public record, we've done every single thing that has been asked. They are not in compliance with security in terms of their files, we know that, that's also public, and we need to address that. Period.
It is, she's exactly right.
They need to order the things. Cause, yeah,
Let's get the
what if
cameras
it gets
ordered.
delayed for some reason? I mean, this should have been
I mean,
done.
they're so concerned about security, we're not
2
gonna have
weeks
people
ago.
coming in and like doing repairs in a place that's not secure, like put the files in the cabinet, I just think this is.
Yeah,
And it, you know, they. The Office of the Court Administration let us know that, I mean, they're out of compliance right now by not having their records secured within their offices, so.
okay,
So
um,
I don't mean to, you know,
yeah,
disparage what they're doing, it's just like, but we have an easy solution here that we agreed upon, and it was like, should,
You should move on.
and April 10th is not far away.
and then, you know, architecture and engineering for the proposed highway facility, that's something we're talking about later.
Great. Perfect, thanks, Cal. Great, okay, thanks for the committee reports. I will offer a single transfer resolution of $35.17 from A 1990.4 contingency to A 3310.4 traffic control.
Second.
And discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Then I will offer a resolution to pay to approve the payment of the following totals for each town fund. A fund, $42,202.69. DA fund, $63,133.71, and the streetlight fund, $273.39.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I have $10 more for the A fund.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, did
But
I? Oh, right. I didn't correct that. It's $242,212.69.
Seconding Jesse then.
Yeah. So. Great, thank you. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Great, bills are paid. Thank you for the minutes of February 15th and March 1st. Any feedback for Jesse? I have a couple little things. So February 15th, for the ag meeting, you had George France. So his last name is France, Frantz.
Oh, would I leave it blank, right?
You just put George.
Yeah.
Flannery.
Okay.
George.
That's right.
We're real
I
casual on
meant
the ag committee.
I meant to get that before. it's said on the spot. Okay.
And then on the March 1, it's like. So the first paragraph talking about the charging station and the cloud services fee and repairs. I think it should be resulted instead of resulting. So just check that word for that's all. That's all I got. Any other thoughts for Jesse?
Thanks, many thanks.
Yeah,
Thank
they look really good. So they're hereby approved. All right. So we are now going to, I will offer resolution to enter executive session for the purposes of discussing qualifications, performance, and eligibility of proposers for professional services contract with the town for the highway facilities.
A second.
Second by Kate. So, any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. All right, so, great.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.